IVM.
कृपया ध्यान दीजिए, the language used on the podcast may not be fit for consumption. We warn you, tread carefully. But listen yaar, don't be so conservative. And a brand new Cyrus Says, it's Monday today when we're recording it for our live audience and for our not live audience. Not that you're not live, but you're alive, but not alive to us at the moment. But my point is, again, sadly, unfortunately, there's this rumor in the air that there will be a lockdown in Maharashtra from March 1st. And I'm very clear about this. And I understand there may be a new strain and things might be surging and all that. But I'm completely anti-lockdown. It's just a philosophy. It's like, are you pro-global warming or not? I'm just completely anti-lockdown. So my decision is thus. If, dear Maharashtra government, and this is not a threat, and I hope I don't sound like that fellow who wears the glasses on the other channels and now has moved to Delhi. If you do a lockdown on March 1st, my vote, which went to Shiv Sena last time, will transfer itself to the BJP. This is my threat. And this is how you threaten a democracy. The biggest threat of all. Transfer of vote. So no lockdown, please. Listen to me. No lockdown. You can move the rules around a little bit. I heard there's a 9 to 5 option and this and that. You can do things like that. But let's not have a full lockdown because that's very painful. I cannot live with this family anymore. God, please understand. By God, I mean government.
पेश खिदमत है आपकी शान में हमारे अंजुमन से. हाय, आई एम सदफ
एंड आई एम अर्शद. खाने का इतिहास, इकोनॉमिक्स, पॉलिसी, साइकोलॉजी सब है मेन्यू पे.
ओनली ऑन द नानकाली पॉडकास्ट एवरी वेडनेसडे, सिर्फ IVM पॉडकास्ट ऐप या वेबसाइट पर, या फिर जहां से भी आप अपने पॉडकास्ट सुनते हो.
All right, it's called Cyrus Says. Let's introduce the two scholars for the day. Amit Doshi, double PhD in global warming and also anti-Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison. He'll tell you why. You'll not get an Australian visa ASAP, but you may get in a year because their PMs last 6 months each. Silvery joins us right in the middle of his career as a stand-up comedian. This lockdown came and spoiled his chances of making good money. So you will be on my side. No lockdown, Silvery.
Yes. Yeah, no
That's
lockdown. Hate lockdowns. Yes.
Little bit more.
Correct.
Some more passion.
Despise lockdowns. They're the worst.
Start throwing things. Yeah. I'm hoping it's just like a threat because I tried to translate it and my Marathi is not very good from what was on that website. But apparently it's more like behave children and make sure you wear your mask and sanitize, blah, blah, social distance. Otherwise on 1st March, we will take very, very strong measures. Is that what it is or does anybody have better information?
That's what I got out of it, right? It was like more of a
warning.
They put a
warning, yeah.
Put a quota on how many people they want to catch without masks every day. So, in the same foolish way we do all things, we decide to put a quota on it so that the police now have an incentive to catch people even if they don't need to catch people.
No, the word is target. It is a marketing gimmick. If it works in corporate India and corporate world, it's fine for the police as well. They have a target, make the target. Yeah. But
interesting. Target versus quota. Interesting language choice.
But listen to me. I'm a little worried. We've suddenly forgotten about the severity of lockdown. Because the last 6 months, all of us have started, business as usual, somewhat, etc., etc. So we've forgotten to go back there, to be locked in buildings and basically, doing everything only online. I don't know. I'm not happy. I'm not ready for that. I don't want to go back to that world, whatever happens.
I feel like we're not there where they would go and take such a drastic step again, right? I think also, but here's the thing as well, right? That even if such a drastic step is needed for whatever reason, and I don't think it is, and I don't think it's justified, but even if such a drastic step is needed, I have got to say that we've learned a lot, right? I mean, like even as people, forget the government. Hopefully the government has learned more than we have, right? About how this shit works and doesn't work. But even as people, we have a much, much better idea of how to kind of handle something like this if it comes up again. So it shouldn't. I hope it doesn't. I don't want it to. It would suck. But I think that we have a better handle on how to handle it.
I think Silvery can help us because you know Raju, right? Silvery?
Raju who?
Raju, you told me about him. Raju works in Uddhavji's office. He's a peon there. So you'll have inside information about what's happening when generally in all big structures, the guy who takes things in and out, the coffee and tea, puts paperweights on the desk, that's the most important guy.
That's true.
Whether you're in America, even Russia's Putin or Putin's Russia rather, or is it Russia's Putin? I don't know. Everywhere, this guy is the most important. So if you know anyone who's working and servicing accounts there, those are the guys we could get in touch with. And if anybody is watching the show and can give us inside information because you work in either the Vidhan Sabha or you work at, Sayadri or Matushri or the Varsha, or basically you're just outside the road. Because I realize a lot of bodyguards wearing purple suits and looking stupid. Maybe one of them has a better understanding of what's going on. But I would like this information. I'm feeling that fear like an exam of March 1st. Even if you look at the calendar, 25th, 26th, 27th, March 1st. Just don't want to be locked up again. God, no. Oof. And then face my building people again, and all the building people will be like, go back in, it's lockdown, we'll all die.
Yeah.
No mask.
But again, I think the thing is just that as well, right? I mean, we were all paranoid about this in March, April last year to a degree which I don't think we would again be now, because now we know stuff, right? I mean, do you remember how many, like I know in my house, how many bottles of that antiseptic spray, sanitizer spray we used?
You discussed that actually, Amit, a very important point, I think. The way we went on with the sanitizers in March, April, May, and if you look at, say, December, Jan now, there'll be what, a 75% drop?
I would think so, at least. I mean, like I carry a bottle of sanitizer when I go outside. I use it when I get into and out of a car. I'll use it after an ATM. I'll use it after an elevator. But that's it. I'm not like, going like this all the time. Packages which are coming into my house are not being sprayed for sanitization as soon as they come in anymore.
Yeah.
We've got an understanding of what we need to do and what we don't need to do. What we need to do is we need to protect ourselves.
Well, as a social and physical scientist of sorts, and I do my own research, I simply urinate on my hands from time to time because I believe that kills all toxins and destroys all germs or viruses or bacteria that can cause virus I. So, to each his own. But I think we've figured out different ways to survive. I've got a crew coming to shoot something. Now I have no choice because I can't use my office, so I have to bring them here. So I'm taking them to the terrace, for example, so they don't meet anyone, and they'll work from there, and they'll have to deal with whatever sunlight problems. But what I'm saying is we've all innovated a little bit to survive through this partial lockdown thing, which I think is okay. We can live with that, but let's not go for a full severe one because I cannot stay in the same house all day.
I think that we're still in a partial lockdown. I feel like we're still in a partial lockdown.
Yeah, of course it is.
Right. I mean, like I'm not going for as many things as I could.
No.
Somebody wants to meet. I just got a message from somebody that, hey, can we meet sometime today or tomorrow? And I'm like, I don't know if I want to meet you. We can do this on a Zoom. I'll meet people who I need to meet.
So you tell me, you're a businessman. Out of 100% meetings, flesh meetings will be 30 or less, and 70% still Zoom.
I will say that once we go back, my general thinking around this stuff is we have realized that most things can happen over Zoom. It's important for me that team is in office and that we have an opportunity for team to brainstorm and team to work together and team to kind of interact with each other and that kind of stuff, right? But I am never going back to a situation where I would go to Andheri East for a meeting from Bandra, which would basically be half my day. That's not happening anymore. For the folks who work out of Andheri East, I will talk to you on a Zoom for now. For the folks who work out of Powai, I will talk to you on a Zoom.
That's such an elitist Valkeshwar
thing
to say. But anyway, you're right. You have my support. Silvery, just want to point out, have you understood Amit's between the lines message to you here is, you will attend the office and sit there. Yeah. You will sit there and you will not move. Whatever the next virus is called, all right? He and I are going to do our meetings on Zoom.
No.
We'll stay in plush Malabar. We're not moving.
No. I will also go to office. I will do my meetings from Zoom, from office on Zoom. I'm not going to leave office and go and meet people randomly.
You don't have to sing this song to me, bro. If we in Mumbai do 3 meetings in 3 different parts of the city,
gone.
Your day's fully
you can
gone.
Do 3
and all you've done is commute.
You cannot do 3 meetings in 3 different parts of the city. You have to club things in the same part.
No, and there's no success quota there. If you look at your cost to company, you've put in all this effort and maybe the 3 meetings all went badly. So you've wasted the whole day in a sense. While on Zoom, if things aren't going so well, all you've done is 7 minutes or 20 minutes of your time and you try again. So I'm all for it.
So I found a lot of efficiency hacks, right? So one thing I do now is my calendar default is 45 minutes and it's not an hour anymore. So by being a default 45 minutes when I'm sending somebody a calendar invite, they assume the meeting will be over in 30 minutes, which it is. And most meetings can be over in 30 minutes.
Because you don't do so much cha-cha. Even our lovely podcast doesn't have 17 minutes of hi, how are you? But a freaking physical meeting will be chai, coffee, biscuits. How was the drive? What happened? The lockdown will happen, not happen. All that shit for 10-15 minutes will happen. It's just the way it is.
Now our stop talk is, hey man, hope things are okay. Have you been going out at all or are you still stuck at home so much? And then, okay, get into the work. 3 to 5
minutes of foreplay and then hardcore sex for you. Am I right? This is just a metaphor. Do not put off this podcast if you're watching live. My audience, generally, I'm told, is over 70, so I don't upset anyone. Who says 70 people are conservatives? It's got nothing to do with age, man. Conservatism, as we will find out. Sylvie, dying to say something because he's lined up 12 topics and we never let him get into one because we start ranting about our own lives. And it's always about Malabar Hill and Andheri. You realize it all comes back to the same problem. And somewhere someone's going to write and say, I hate these guys. People are dying of an epidemic. We've got all kinds of colossal failure across the world in terms of dealing with it. And these two warn about Andheri. Andheri is the bad word. Kill Andheri. Andheri is.
I love Andheri.
Shut up. How dare you?
I love Andheri, man. It is, Andheri is not bad. It's just, so the attractiveness of Andheri is inversely proportional to the distance from the highway.
That's true.
Yes.
That's a very good point. I accept that totally. If it's off the highway, I'm
fine.
Okay. Not so bad.
So Andheri East and Andheri West are very different from each other. Andheri West is a lot more attractive. Andheri East is not.
No, but you know.
Although Powai is in Andheri East.
No. Depends. Andheri East for us is shorter generally because it's just off. If it's just off, we take that. I don't care about what the buildings look like.
Yeah.
Buildings look like it's immaterial.
That's
or who
true,
the people are. But what is this thing from college days? What's the crowd like? Is that really a thing? Throughout MTV early days, going to college, the crowd in Stevens is better. What the hell does that mean? Really? I mean, what are these all great human beings who've, pious and holy and done a lot for the world's welfare? What does a crowd mean? I've never got that. It's the most racist, prejudiced, and casteist, communalist, classist statement you can make. The crowd. To Mumbai, Amit, am I
No.
We are the most
Used to be a thing, even in our age,
Oh.
Even in our time. It used to be a thing.
Did you guys use terms like this?
Yeah, exactly.
What's the crowd terrible here?
Now that I'm thinking about it, it's so nonsensical. Like, what does that ever mean? Nobody ever knew.
Really?
Okay, listen, let's be very brutal and honest about what that is, right? We're asking, are the poor people there? That's what we're asking.
It comes from
That's
there.
where it comes from.
And the words like vernacular.
Yeah.
When later on, as you go up in life, you find some of your best friends, have really strong accents. How shallow can we really be? Because if you don't mix up the group, the whole group sucks after some time.
That's exactly right. I think that as you get older, you realize that is a stupid ass way to think about things, right? I don't think about that anymore like that, but I know that when I was 15 and 16 years old, you would, what was the discotheque in Horizon Hotel?
Banana, Go Bananas.
Not Go Bananas, Xanadu.
Go Bananas? Xanadu.
Yeah, so
Xanadu with an X.
Exactly.
Silvery can't pronounce it.
So after the first couple of years, I remember that people would always say, Xanadu mein crowd kharab hai. The crowd's not good at Xanadu.
Kharab, the word is bad. They would use stronger words than kharab. Like crap crowd, bad crowd.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can't go there. Crowd is terrible.
Is shit. Yeah, exactly.
And you've not even gone there. You're predicting that the crowd is there. It's not like he's gone there and called you and said terrible people. Wow. I wonder if we were all called bad crowd by some other group.
I'm sure we were. Listen, I'm sure that... so I've been called a bad influence many times, right? I'm a terrible influence on people.
Hence you turn to podcast.
So that I don't influence.
To weave your influence.
No, but I have been called... I am not considered to be the greatest influence. I come from a conservative Gujarati family, dude. And I incite insurrection amongst my nieces and nephews. So I'm not a good influence in that sense. So.
Oh, you're the rebel in the family.
Yes.
I get it. Fair enough.
Yes.
Yeah. And you are actually. You're very. If you want to look at it from a stereotype, you're really not that. So that's scary. So what do you do at the family functions? You sit alone. You're the black sheep.
I talk to
Kalo.
He's inciting his nieces and nephews.
Yeah. I talk to everybody. No, I talk to absolutely everybody, but I kind of tell that, hey, no, you shouldn't necessarily sit at home. You should go out. You should go for a dinner. You should go for your friends.
Yeah, I would say, yeah. True. Yeah. Very true. That's very, very, very possible. Yes. Yeah. Sorry, mummy. She's still watching. Yeah. Yeah. That's right. Yep. Yeah. 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 Just watching a lot of The Big Lebowski and being a pacifist, basically.
Oh, what a film. I love that film. Really. I wanted to name my doggy The Big Lebowski, but she was a female and my wife said no. I don't know. Again, prejudice of some sort. Okay, let's get on with the crowd here.
Yeah.
This is a classy crowd. Kya crowd hai yaar? Intro de, intro. I want me that chick yaar. The other thing about intro, intro in the 80s and 90s was what? Intro means the girl likes you. Are you mental? If you just say, hi, this is Aparna, this is Rajiv. No, that's it. That doesn't mean there's a marriage in 7 days. But the men would always think they've reached the moon.
It's the first step. It's the first step.
But is it that huge a step?
The biggest step.
Crowd of 500 people in the
Okay,
college?
I'm going to give you like a Chinese philosophy proverb, right? The biggest step on any journey is the first step.
And what happens to the second step?
Well, the second step follows from the first step, but without the first step, there is no second step.
What if you get pushed back?
Well, I mean, you have to take your first.
No reference to 62. No reference to 62. Sorry. Ouch. Yeah.
I've been reading a lot of Chinese novels, and so this is a fairly common kind of phrase that you keep hearing about.
I thought we were told to boycott everything Chinese.
I like reading Chinese martial arts novels.
You went into martial arts, so it's now
No,
like
but
a
it
worldly concept.
is. Well, actually, no. This is the stupidest shit in the world to read. This is worse than Antariksh's manga obsession, right? I mean, like I read worse stuff than that.
Hey,
I love manga.
What's wrong with that? It's feeding one side of your personality. Doesn't mean you're holistically just this one thing.
No, it's not. I liked it.
It's like we read Mills and Boone. Doesn't mean you're an idiot for romance. So that's all that's in your life. You might be a great scientist who's, rediscovered the atom.
I'll tell you my problem with the Chinese novels I read or manga like Antariksh.
They're in Chinese?
No, it's so much and it's all consuming.
Okay.
When you start doing it, correct me if you're wrong, Antariksh, but when you're really into a manga, will you not spend 3-4 hours a day on it?
Oh, absolutely.
There you go.
But the thing is, the manga that I read now, I am up to date with. So I have to wait the next week anyway.
That's fine. But now, the next time you find a new one, will you not be obsessed 4 hours a day with it?
I'm dreading that. Exactly. I'm dreading that.
That's the problem I have with these Chinese novels that I read, right? Sometimes I'll just start going with them and it's like, okay, read until you go to, you read for 2 hours after you wake up in the morning at 6 o'clock, start reading again. I mean, like, it's stupid how
But are you inspired to do the steps and are you inspired to actually...
Oh, no, yeah. These are all magical fantasy things.
Impossible, like going on a tree and then jumping across
It's not even that. It's like, turning my sword into a laser beam, which is going to destroy a city.
Wow.
It's nonsense.
It's Star Wars, the Chinese version.
Yeah, it's nonsense. It's fun nonsense, but it's nonsense.
Old Chinese proverb, there is no nonsense coming from China. All right. And manga, if the comics are about news, is it manga nanga or that would not be it?
That would not be
Silvery?
it. No, that's exactly it.
Pregnant pause? I gotta find something in it for me. So, okay, shall we go to topic 1 at 10:17 on the live
Let's
telecast?
do that.
Which means for 17 minutes, we have done rubbish as usual, which is 1/3 of the program. Okay.
But we already kind of talked about the COVID lockdown and all coming back up, which was one of the topics.
Yeah.
And to add to that, there is a new strain which has been discovered in Maharashtra. This is the AIIMS chief, Dr. Randeep Guleria, has said that there's a new strain in Maharashtra, and this strain might be more. It might highly transmissible, highly transmissible and more dangerous than the current strain that we've been encountering this entire time.
What does that mean?
So, which is
one second. They're using words like may, not definitely. This is also, I suppose that they don't have enough knowledge or what. I have no idea, but it's always maybe.
I paraphrase it to may. They are saying the strain is more transmissible, and dangerous. That's what they say.
More potent, basically, than the last one.
More easily contagious, maybe.
Possible.
Maybe stays on surfaces. Maybe stays on surfaces longer.
Find the word.
That's the thing,
yeah.
So,
okay.
So I think, this is like the whole thing from UK, right? Now there are strains coming up in Maharashtra also. They'll be coming up in different parts of the country.
No, I think it's from Brazil. Huh? The Brazil. Now this is called, from what I heard, it's the Brazil strain. Now two people came from Brazil recently. Let's call them Ronaldo and Ronaldinho because I don't know who they were. And apparently they have transferred what is this new xenophobic, if you like, strain which is coming from South America. And so now people get more flummoxed and more scared because that's the real dark continent in South America. And then, very little about it beyond football. And so, that's another huge thing to carry on your head. But still, I'm thinking don't go for full lockdown, whatever happens. Just figure this out here. I know numbers are surging. It's all about death count for me. I've never looked at people falling sick. The death count is the issue. And now I'm wondering if a lot of people who died, Amit Doshi, please correct me if I'm wrong, because this is always devil's advocate, the other side. I'm wondering that if you look at the figures of people who've died, many had these congenital diseases, which they probably would have died of any other disease, because you're already weakened. So a big disease like, say, malaria, big strain, or cholera, big strain, or cancer, whatever, you're already crippled. So anything big coming your way, you're anyway in trouble. You know what I'm saying?
Most comorbidities are manageable, right? Most comorbidities right now that you would have, diabetes, breathing issues, obesity, heart issues, heart disease.
So you're telling me, Dr. Amit Doshi, you're telling me every single person who has died because of COVID and COVID alone?
Yes. No, so comorbidities, by definition, comorbidities mean that they increase your susceptibleness to COVID. But if you didn't have COVID, you would not have died.
Yeah, I know.
You might have died 6 months from now, you might have died 3 months from now, you might have died a year from now, you might have died 10 years from now. But
note to self, we will discuss this in 7 years when we know much more about this disease.
Honestly, dude, I have zero problem with kind of thinking about this and saying that COVID is responsible, right? The thing that is the proximate cause of the death is the cause of the death, right? And if anything, we have underreported COVID deaths. Because I've seen a lot of how we are doing with testing, especially on the backside of things, right? I've spoken to numerous people who right now, they don't test after a positive test. Right? You get the first positive test. They don't get a test to get negative because of the way that these things are set up so that the government will lock you. If you are no longer showing symptoms and you test positive again, the government is still going to lock you in your house again for another 20 days. Right? So
you don't test.
You don't test on the back end of it.
But my producer Mohit, who got it, had to test in 14 days.
Nowadays, a lot of doctors are telling their patients don't test.
Let me talk to them.
So there are all these leakages are happening now. Right, in terms of how we're dealing with this stuff. So, but no, my point being that nonetheless, what I was trying to say here is that you place the reason for somebody dying, right, is COVID, because COVID accelerated the death. Even if somebody was going to die tomorrow and COVID made them die today, COVID accelerated.
If he had compromised lungs and he got a terrible strain of dysentery, a really, really severe one, he could still die.
Yes.
So how do we know that, he's died only of COVID is what I'm saying?
Because COVID is the thing instead of dysentery. Now, if he had got COVID that time we would say he died of dysentery. This time we're saying he died of COVID.
Okay. I hear what you're saying. Once you've done the COVID test, he just won't take the blame from the COVID test. But I'm still out on this. I want to wait 7 years and figure this out because I think perspective will give us an idea.
Okay, sure. We can always look at perspective is always great, right? But people to say that somebody would have died anyway, right, does not excuse.
Not necessarily, but in some cases, I'm saying in any case, when you've got this already immune
suppressant response or whatever that may be, right?
The words I was looking for. Thank you. Once you have that, you're already on the back foot. That's all I'm trying to say. So do you just need COVID to knock you out, or your wife telling you to get up and leave the room?
So here's the thing. So somebody who is going to die tomorrow, because we know that the body is giving up, cancer is giving up, this, that, all that.
Exactly.
We know that person is going to die tomorrow. Okay, somebody goes and shoots them. Who killed that? Did that person get killed or did that person die? Did cancer kill them or the person kill him?
Yeah, but all we can say is that they were en route to die. They just died a little earlier.
But little earlier, still the person who killed them. And I'm not saying I'm not making a suicide argument. So I'm saying somebody is going to die and somebody killed him. Exactly.
But then if that's your point, then if it's all relative, then we are all going to die someday. So then
we are all going to.
Yeah. So the faster death theory also is a little nonsensical.
No, it's not. It's the appropriate theory, right? Because it answers your argument. It is it's the cause of death. The cause of death is COVID. The cause of death is a bullet. The cause of death is whatever it may be.
Let's move to a slightly more serious topic, which is that the center immediately sent the 4-5 states who had the surge letters saying, what are you doing? Which sounds like it's almost like they caught you. I caught you. So Punjab, Kerala, Maharashtra, I caught you. And I think Punjab, of course, wrote back that this letter is not in Punjabi, so we're disregarding it immediately. Yeah, and fair enough. Amarinder doesn't tolerate anyone. I love Amarinder. He's the kind of leader I like. He's got that slightly Nawab bit. He is from the royal family. So he's got that, devil may care, like you just, lack of respect for everyone, but in a nice way. Yeah. If we grew up together, we'd have been friends, Amarinder and I. Of course, if we watches this program, I suppose that would end it. But yeah. All right, Silvery, where were we?
Yeah, but I'm saying, in all seriousness, what can really be done if cases are spiking? Because we have seen this entire time that all these restrictions and all, they help for a certain time and then everyone gets over it. So even if it starts again.
Also, again, to cripple the economy. We've already on the back foot after 6 months of nothing, etc.
Yeah.
It's a huge thing to do. I don't think he's going to do it because Maharashtra is all about business. We're a commerce country.
Exactly.
I don't get it, state. So, frankly speaking, we have to we've discussed this to death, the economic depravity versus the actual emergency from medical issues or whatever you want to call it, which worm is higher, growing faster, and the suffering will carry on for how many generations from vis-a-vis A versus B?
Yeah.
And what about this vaccine? We started giving the vaccine. So this vaccine is not going to work on the second strain?
It probably will work. It will at least have some degree of efficacy. And that's the solution here, right? I mean, like, how are we going to get out of lockdown, completely get out of this so that life goes back to normal? Is through vaccine. It is not happening in any other way, right? In the meantime, they're trying to minimize deaths. And I mean, like, if a couple of hundred people were dying just randomly, we would not be okay with that. And so we should not be okay with the government just letting a couple of hundred people die on the altar of whatever that may be, right? I think that, I think the appropriate response is to buckle down on things that we know work. Social distancing.
You can't blame the government. I give it to them. What can they say? They have to shout and scream over the same 4-5 things and say, just maintain this so that our chances are better.
That's all they can do.
But whether you maintain or don't maintain, that behemoth carries on. And it finds its way into your bodies and family and friends and all that.
Until we get the vaccines, right? Until we all get vaccinated, or at least most of us get vaccinated. That's what kills it, right? 75%, I think 72 or 75% is the number that basically gives us herd immunity. So that many people need to have COVID antibodies and need to have the vaccine combined, and then the disease will die.
So there's another theory: if you breathe only from your left nostril for a day and then right nostril for the next day and alternate like that, you'll be able to take on anything, and your immunity goes up like about 5,000%.
They do that at these things, no? At these yoga camps, they make you do this.
Yes. It sounds flippant, but there's a theory of the breath controlling the immunity in the body, the ability to resist, rather, anything that comes from outside. So now, as we get more desperate, we will turn to that. I don't see the reason why not to. All it means is just you clip this here and then you breathe only from there. You just have to clip it some or the other, There's a way to do that. Or if you have a guy who owes you money, he puts his finger here, right here, and for the whole day spends time with you. Something like that. Silvery?
Yes.
Should we take a break?
We should take a break.
We should.
27. We'll take a break. Very hard, tragic topics. But when we come back, something lighter, I hope. Yeah. Guys, because our 33 people listening now that there's no Aisha on the show, they've all disappeared. Yeah.
No, we got a good number. We have 120 live.
We have 121 people. Yeah, okay.
120? Oh, God, I hope none of them have COVID, God forbid. Okay, all right. We'll be back in a second.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you aren't following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and even LinkedIn, where we're starting to put more stuff on. We'd like to thank our sponsors very quickly this week, thewholetruthfoods.com, Storytel, and Ciet. We really do appreciate your support. And we had a great week on the network this week. So tune in for some sweetness with our hosts Sadaf and Archit as they hone their sweet tooth and talk about candies. The famous, the healthy, the traditional, and international. Check out Naan Curry. You'll enjoy it. On last week's episode of The Note, Maruk and I spoke to TV presenter and columnist Veer Sanghvi, who analyzed the 2 years of the second term of the Modi government. As China and India signed the disengagement agreement along the LAC, Lieutenant General Dr. Prakash Menon and Manoj Kewalramani joined Suyash Desai to discuss the process and the consequences it will have on the nation and in world politics. Dr. Anton Harder joins Hamsini Hariharan on States of Anarchy to discuss India's right to a seat at the United States Security Council. Ashton Doctor talks about duty, how individually it binds us, and how as a society it is liberating. Check out The Habit Coach with Ashton. Every day, great show and great fun to listen to that. On Football Show to All the Boys to talk about their loves and sorrows for teams and their current ranks in the world of football. And also do remember to check out Cyrus Says. We had a great week last week. We had Amol Mazumdar, the ex-cricketer. We had Rocky and Mayur. And we did the Valentine's special with Aisha and Kunal. Great fun. Do check it out. I'm sure you will enjoy that. And with that, let's get you back to your show.
Follow me at Instagram and Twitter on Bored Brocha. I'm so bored, I need your help. I need your love. I need your touch. Okay, just follow me. All right, back here. Apologize to all listeners, viewers, whatever you want to call listeners, like vlog. Let's make a new term because we're audio, but we've allowed video. But audio is the dominant part. So should we be listeners?
I don't know.
It can't be viewer or listener. We're different.
We need to come up with a third way.
We need
a middle terminology.
Exactly.
Because the middle part.
Absolutely. Because the audio is stronger. It's the only medium where the audio is stronger than the visual. Hence, ugly people can have a field day here. But
you know how there are soothsayers? We'll call them Cyrus sayers. No? Okay, fine. I guess not. I just, let's move on.
But we need to come up with a term for a term of art, a description term, right?
It doesn't have to be for us. It's for all podcasts.
Exactly, viewers and listeners, because we have so many more of these video podcasts coming out now, right?
Yeah. So, for example, people who behave badly in mobs, we call them animals, like that. We have to find something which actually fits properly, because you're both a viewer and a listener. But in my belief, you're a listener first and a viewer second.
Yes.
Otherwise, the best podcast would be what? Naomi Campbell who's the prettiest model today? I have no idea. Somebody in 2020 say Silvery, save us. Google Silvery. You're not in Australia. You can Google it, please. Come on.
I've heard of the name Gigi Hadid. That's the name I know. I don't.
Gigi Hadid.
Gigi Hadid.
Sounds like a girl band. Gigi and the Hadids.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Google that, ladies and gentlemen. Gigi Hadid.
We are out of touch.
I hope this is a woman, firstly. What is it? G. And this is Ghanshyam by Gangaram Hadid. Ouch.
Audience. There we go. Audience. Siddharth Vishnu suggested audience.
But audience is already there. I want a new word. The birth of a new word. Can you imagine the music we can play with that?
Yeah, that is true. Stillwater's Night Sky suggests we listeners.
But that's what I said, listeners.
Yeah.
Like how the vlog game.
Yeah, the vlog listeners. How about we go the other way with that?
See, that will confuse Germans, Bengalis, because the Burr issue will happen. Biharis, you got to match the letters, would make sense.
Siddharth Vishnu suggested brochers, like poachers. Brochers.
But that's to me. The point is, this is about the medium.
You want like for the whole
medium. Far beyond me.
Yeah,
so we need to figure, just like how you say spectators for sport, I suppose. Because it's viewing first.
Right.
Amarpreet Singh said Velas. We'll call them Velas.
That's good. Amarpreet, you win the prize. That's good. That's lovely. Finally, a man who speaks the truth. Amarpreet for president. In America. Yeah, we are very happy with everybody.
Let's get to one main interesting story.
I beg you to. 10:30. Okay. You must.
Yeah. Texas is going through a massive freeze disaster. Where they're calling the Texas freeze disaster, where all of Texas is basically under ice. Everywhere, there are like crazy posts going viral where cars are under like almost like a foot of ice. In your bathroom, if you put on the faucet, the water freezes. People's dog food has been freezing, so the dog is not able to eat. People go to the toilet, their toilet is frozen. From the fan, there are icicles forming down from the fan. I saw one pic where there is this car was like standing in like a basement or like a parking garage, and there's like a drop like a thing of water, like a small dhar of water falling on the car. That whole dhar of water is frozen, falling on the car, and the car is frozen because of it. So insane.
See, my reaction to all this is, and it's a big question, the philosophical question, how and why did America become a third world country? I mean, this is the kind of thing you never, growing up, they were like the perfect country. They didn't have those California storms and all, and typhoons and all that they have in the last 20 years. So this is scary. And Texas, for me, as a cowboy movie lover genre, is all about really hot deserts and hot sun, and there's no sense of cold. But of course, our American expert will tell you that is not so. Desert climate, so both extremes are present and prevalent.
No, but so Texas, this is unexpected, right? Yeah. Texas doesn't get snow and winter, snow and ice like this. It was completely unexpected, which is why they got fucked up.
The problem actually that happened is that their power grid, their entire electricity grid in Texas is apparently failing, or has failed rather. Because of which, like
multiple times.
Yeah, because of which, like almost like I want to say like 40% of the state or 50% of the state is without electricity.
Wow.
And without power in these super trying times. So people are not able to warm up their own houses. It is crazy.
Oh boy. So unless you came from Calcutta in the first place, you're not prepared for this. This is amazing. But what happens?
But that is the problem to consider. Now think about what would happen to us in Bombay if it started snowing instead of raining.
We wouldn't have to.
I would love it.
It is. I would love it too. I would love the temperature. I would love the this of it. But just think about what would happen to the infrastructure of the city, right? Instead of rain, if we had snow, and snow which led into ice, right? That would have been like a major issue, right?
I think it'd be great. Firstly, those drivers who hang around the lane doing nothing, sitting on cars and all will disappear, as will the cars. So that'd be fabulous. And, I think we'll get a lockdown feeling again because there'll be nobody around. So I can't complain, having been in a hot sauna for so long. But it's amazing. Do you believe in all this biblical or godlike reasons for all this?
I don't believe in biblical reasons for this.
But it's like a plague, It's like you just mentioned, it's against the run of play again. Where did this come from? How did Texas get snow or ice? No historical data for that.
I think the answer to that would be climate change.
The erudite scientist points in the way of the ignorant who ran the country for 4 years, including the state of Texas. I think a Republican state, isn't it? Without a doubt.
Always a Republican state. So because of Republican state, so much nonsense as well.
If that's true.
So much craziness also, right? I mean, like a lot of this. So there's this power company, okay, based out of Texas. So Texas is the home of Enron. They've been doing energy dealing and stuff like that for the longest time, right? And so because of that, they're like really a little too far, I would say. I would not even say the cutting edge. I would say way beyond what the edge should be of the way that their power systems are, or where the power billing works, right? So there are over 200 electric companies in Texas. Okay. One of these companies basically tags your bill to the cost of wholesale electricity. Okay, so what is the cost of wholesale power that's being acquired by the grid? Based on that, your bill will be generated. Most people lost electricity during this thing, or a lot of people lost electricity during this thing. There were a few people who had it on. A bunch of people who had it on, people got like bills like $16,000.
Yeah.
Normal bills are like $70, $80 a month.
Yeah.
Okay? This is for like normal electricity.
Normal
not
electricity.
Some huge generator in your house.
No, but just normal electricity. People got bills of like 16,000, 18,000,
Think about that
25,000.
poor lady who used an electric vibrator. And then get $16,000 bill. I mean, it's really not fair. Think of the small things that cost so much. Ouch.
But it's a really kind of bizarre that I mean, like they went so far in this deregulation. They gave absolutely no protection to their customers, their consumers.
Yep.
Yeah, well, Texas should outsource to India. We'll solve their problems. I'm sure the Adani conglomerate or the Tata's electric board or even the BST, for what it's worth, will come to the party and help them.
Yep.
Because our ways have been scoffed at. But right now, who's the first world country? God, I sound like the center. Who it is number one?
Think about how much we craved when our electricity bills changed moderately at the start of the lockdown.
They didn't change moderately. You know what they did? They played catch up. So they gave you an amount for 3 months and then said, okay, we're giving you a nullified amount for whatever reason because of the tragedy and the pandemic. And now we're playing catch up. I don't like catch up. Once you've given me the bill, that's your bill.
They were not able to send their people out to do meter inspections.
Yeah,
that's
not
why the
my
bills
problem,
were not
brother. Not my problem. Once you've sent me a bill, then don't send me a bill. Send me
During
a thing saying
lockdown, it is a problem.
No, they should have just said, look, we can't send you a bill. We're trying to figure out what's happening. They send me a bill. We paid the bill. We pay the next month's bill, the third month's bill, the fourth month they send me an extra bill. Saying now this is catch up time, so every month we're adding. What the hell is that? I mean, that's the reverse mutual fund thinking. Yeah. I mean, this is horrible. What a horrible thought.
No, but I mean, like, see how pissed off we were, and our bills went from like 4,000 to 6,000 or 7,000, right? This poor woman, her bill went from like $80 to $16,000.
How did she pay it?
And the thing is that they're all set up for automatic deductions, right? So she had
$200
straight from the bank account.
Or she'll have to sell her husband. Ouch.
So, I mean, like, to be fair to the company, the electric company which sent out the bill, they actually warned everybody a week before the blizzard happened that, hey, switch your billing. Again, you can move fairly easily. They sent a warning to everybody that, hey, this we're anticipating this really big weather problem.
Because you can't change the algorithm. To sort out the mess, so you change your billing.
Well, no, because again, the way they are set up is that basically if they are supplying electricity on one hand, they're buying it on the other hand, right? And so they are set up in a way where their entire business is built like that. They're just taking a 2%. No, they're not. They're taking like $9.99. So, I mean, like, it's an interesting experiment from business perspective and actually makes a lot of sense for like larger companies.
Yeah.
Right? But they are charging a fixed fee for managing your electric transmission and billing, but you pay what is the wholesale price. So it's actually an interesting idea, but it's not for consumers.
I would like to quote Martin Luther King and, misquote him and say that I want to live in a world where electricity is free for all people of all color and all races and all genders. Free electricity. I think that should be the way. You pay your taxes, you have to get something back. And one of the things I've always wanted was electricity and, of course, petrol or electric cars. So we don't have this petrol diesel issue. We don't have time for that, bro. It's nearly 10:37. Can we go straight into the AMAs?
Let's go into the AMAs.
Let's see what people have to say.
We can, but before the AMAs, we should talk about the Ted Cruz incident that happened, because it's related to the same Texas thing. Ted Cruz is the senator from Texas, one of the senators from Texas. And he was basically caught amid this whole freezing disaster thing, that's going on. All his constituents are going crazy. People are panicking. People don't have incomes. Again, everything is shut down. It's crazy. In the middle of all this, Ted Cruz is caught at the airport, escaping, basically fleeing to Cancun, Mexico. And then he got caught at the airport, and there are memes of him at the airport wearing a mask that have been insanely going viral. I saw one where he's the Mars rover is seeing Ted Cruz just vacationing on Mars. It's crazy. So there's one. So basically, he got caught now, and after reaching Mexico, then he was like now on how do I control the situation, right? He was thinking. So basically, he came up with an excuse saying, "Oh no. My daughters were traveling with their friends to Cancun for a vacation. So being a good father, I had to escort them. I was going to be back in a day anyway." But then he had to come back after like 2 days because one day.
I think you're doing him an injustice and disservice, because I think the planning is far more sophisticated than we think. He went there because in case Texas is completely eliminated and annihilated, he can restart Texas from Mexico, which in any case is always a disputing point. So I feel he's looking within and figured out a way forward for the race of Texans to come back through him. Dare I say, and his daughters, but not in that way. But whatever's okay. Amit is now getting worried that we've reached the line of actual non-control. But it's like Noah's Ark. So he takes a few people and he restarts in Mexico. Yeah. Well done, Ted. You have my full support. Don't we get what we deserve, they say, in terms of leadership? Isn't that famous thing?
Absolutely. Yeah. He's the worst, man. Worst. I think you were talking about this earlier, right? You were calling him Donald Trump's heir apparent. And as you were saying that, I was just like, actually he's not really, because Donald Trump is like in the old Hindi movies, the village villains, right?
Yeah,
there was a Thakur. There was a Zamindar, Thakur, right? So that's Donald Trump, right? The
rich, unempathetic man, yeah.
This guy who is explicitly evil, unempathetic,
this guy plays the son of the soil card in one of the son of an immigrant and all that, yeah.
No, he's the Munim.
Yeah.
He's a fucker who's just as slimy, worse probably in every single way, but he doesn't have the balls to go out and be like that, right? I can't stand Ted Cruz. He's the worst.
I don't know. Anything that ends with Cruz is a problem with me ever since I had that 6 hours in Santa Cruz coming to the office that day in the rain. I'll never forget that. But shall we move on to the AMAs?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Already, without exhausting 2 topics, we reached 40 minutes. Either we're really good at talking and conversation, or we're real shit. Oh, I'm going to go ask the listeners to come up with a better word than Velas. We have to find something else.
We have a lot of questions in the thing today.
Yes.
Go on.
All right. The first one. So we got a few questions even before we started the live stream. So people are waiting with questions. First one comes in from Akshay K. He says, "Hi guys, whether Cyrus says team likes streaming over Zoom every day or recording the show from the studio, what do you guys like more?" I think the studio.
Oh god, that's not even close.
Yeah, it's
studio.
Not obviously
god,
studio. Yeah. We have so much
control
on everything.
interacting with
studio.
No. Also, look, we talk over each other. Of course, I talk over everybody, even there. But the point is, you're watching people, so the interaction is much easier.
It is, yeah.
Maybe for Silvery's generation, they're just born into this, so they're better at picking up the clues and cues. But for me personally, I think just talking to people direct is much easier. And also
technical challenges, right? I mean, listen, we have sound problems on this thing.
Probably
1 out of 6 episodes, 1 out of 5 episodes. Once a week, we have a sound problem.
Last Thursday, we had the best episode ever. We had 3 lines of coherence. Yeah.
It was amazing. I mean,
we went down with the ship, not like Ted Cruz. We didn't flee. We could have run, Amit. You could have run. I could have run. We stayed there. We even allowed Kunal dressed as a woman to come over my shoulder at some point. Yeah. So kudos to us. Yeah. So you were saying.
But tech challenges, right? I mean, like, I would prefer everything to happen out of the studio, even if we start bringing in guests via Zoom, which is something that we should maybe expand to now that we've done so much Zoom, right?
Yeah.
Where earlier we were having the guests come into the studio every time. This time, maybe we can start getting guests from Zoom. But I need the studio for us, right? I mean, like having a sound engineer, having producer, having social media stuff being done while we're in the right now. I mean, like our social media over the pandemic's been, I mean, like, you know, it's been uneven, right? I mean, like, because we don't have all those pictures of guests that we had in studios earlier.
Yeah.
Right?
They're sending us passport photos of themselves anyway, which is horrible.
Yeah. Exactly. So, I would much prefer going back to the studio.
Because I get a lassi when I go there every time.
Yeah.
A nice sweet lassi, which I miss.
And your kebabs.
Lassi is all thin.
Your kebabs also.
Kebabs too. Yeah. I didn't want to push it because I'll sound like some spoiled entitled elitist who goes there and is fed just to talk for 20 minutes, mostly about himself.
I'll say this though. I mean, like every time I've gone to office, the first thing I've done is lunch from Rajasthan. I cannot have the Rajasthan kebabs.
But Rajasthan shut down, I think.
My daughter sold on them.
No.
Kunal just bought last week and brought home.
No.
Yeah.
Because my daughter loves the Shami kebab from there.
Yeah.
So restaurants have their market, bro. If you got a taste for all this. Anyway, next one.
All right, next one comes in from Vader97. He says, what was the conversation like between Cyrus and Aisha after the previous episode aired? It was really one of the best ones so far.
It was like Simon and Garfunkel's most famous song, Sounds of Silence. That's how you survive marriages. But my wife, now I hope she doesn't see this because now her running group has started watching our podcast because we spoke to Ashish contractor, blah, blah, blah. So I think a little of that is happening. So she's getting feedback even if she doesn't watch. So I have to be careful. I'm on thin ice. Sorry, Texas, thin ice. But I got to say, she got some 300 more people on her Insta because of this podcast. Okay.
Oh, wow.
And she doesn't have that many listeners or whatever you want to call them, Insta followers. And she came in. And this is what I love about Indians. We do this whole thing about, when you're feeling one thing, but you say another thing. We do it all the time. So she came in and said, oh God, your stupid podcast. I got 300 more followers. Inside shining and smiling. And then you say this. And I'm like, really? To help improve your fledgling art career, the 300, 400 followers count, I mean, you're not Amitabh Bachchan. So every 100 is a big leap. But yeah. So I think secretly, Amit, and I hope it's not played back to her, she is loving the attention and the fact that you told her it was the highest rated show and all. So I'm thinking that maybe I'm the guy. Why waste time with this idiot? I should be the one with the podcast. Do the maths. I'm the only commonality is me for the successful podcast. So, take him out and leave me for the rest. Simple mathematics.
I think this one did well too. I mean, like so far it's done well, right? The episode.
You've created a monster. Although, why do we have Kunal there? He's like a drape, one of the curtains that you don't open. You just keep in the background. Then he'll pontificate for half an hour. Kunal, I can't take Kunal. Can somebody take Kunal from me? His conversations are too slow. I think I have to put him on TRT. That's test replacement therapy. Yes, Silvery. Next.
All right. Vader97 also, he has a comment saying, please do more episodes without guests. It's amazing how you guys create gold content. Thank you so much, Vader. That's very cool.
Can I say something? Yeah. And Amit and I have discussed this offline since we are candid form here and we just, speak candidly. We've discussed this and no disrespect to guests because there's some really good episodes with guests also. But honestly, it's more fun just freewheeling because I feel like three guys having a conversation. It's just more fun. There's no pressure to please that person, to make sure they don't get disrespected, to make sure we put out the right stuff. And Silver, you feel that pressure as well because they'll tell you, the last guy said, PR firm said, do this or don't do that.
Yeah.
So there's something wonderful about guys just chatting.
Yeah.
For me, there's a podcast that I watch, whether it's Joe Rogan or lesser known person, when they're just having a little chat and not discussing the greatness of the guests, it almost always works really well.
Yeah, I agree, man. I enjoy doing these more. I don't sit on that many of the guest episodes, but I enjoy doing this because it is just that, right? It's us talking about things that we think about, right?
We have just destroyed our guest list. No one's coming on.
No. Well, guest episodes are great as well, right? I mean, we had some really, really good guests with some really good episodes. Your Rocky and Mayur episode was great last week. The one with Akash Banerjee was fantastic.
I mean, the guys listening, the guys who've written into us or whatever, texted us, what is the right word? For them, I think they just enjoy the fact that guys are just freewheeling and chatting. And sometimes it's an interesting chat.
I have also seen feedback on our YouTube channel and comments and stuff like that. Also on like some of the other emails and stuff where people are like, "Hey, can we just have Cyrus talking to guests? Those are the Cyrus and Cyrus talking to somebody he doesn't know. Those are the best episodes."
Yeah.
No, that's the guest's wife's wife or something. The guest's wife writing it. That's clearly biased.
No, it's more of I think it's more of a reaction to, well, actually this episode, the last time I saw it was on Thursday's episode, so it might have been more of a reaction to Thursday's episode specifically, but it is more of a, some people like conversations.
Aisha's mom? List of suspects.
No, Aisha was Friday. Thursday was Sriram.
The Sriram episode.
Anti-Tambram? Because of the finance minister?
I will not tolerate
anti-tech glitches.
Anti us being able to make a coherent conversation going.
Oh, that was the bad Thursday tech support thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like a big bosom lady without a bra running on the field. And these things happen. Come on. Okay, I take that back again. We go back to guests. Guests are better.
Yes,
so is your mom listening?
She probably is, yes. If not right now, she will listen in an hour or so.
Will you edit it nicely so I don't look like a jerk?
No, my mom loves you, man. My mom loves you. She loves listening to the show. The next question.
Because all your secrets come out through me. She thinks I'm a cousin from, who's always telling her the truth. Find out more about something. Let's do one quick.
Next, this one is a cricket related one. Comes in from Mittu Chaudhary. He says, Cyrus, cricket question for you. Who do you think are the favourites for the Oz New Zealand T20 series starting today? Yeah.
Well, I think, honestly, Australia will be a little shocked by New Zealand. Done really well with the IPL in terms of selection. So I think because we're reading a lot in the cricket fraternity, people chatting about the fact that Steve Smith only went for 2.2 crores. I mean, this is, along with Virat Kohli, the best batsman of his generation. And in all forms, with all due respect. Obviously, his test record is great and all that, but also T20 is not bad at all. And he didn't have a great season last year, but he went from some 12.4 crores to 2.2. I mean, that's like a cut of, 80%? So they may be a little demotivated. Not too many Aussies were chosen. Two more new guys were chosen. But I think New Zealand has 6 players in the mix and 3 got chosen, which is fabulous. The best returns out of any country. And huge money. Kyle Jameson getting 15 crores. So I think they're quite pumped up. And New Zealand is always the country that plays above themselves. I don't know in NBA if you have a team like that. But it's a team that always comes and will go above what they can do. Without having too many stars, they always perform. They're a real team in that sense. And don't forget they beat us 2-0 in tests last year. Just about a little more than a year ago. There are always a few NBA teams like that, right? I mean, the last one I think was famously the Detroit Pistons from 2005, 2006. But they can't have a LeBron James or a Steph Curry. They can't have those guys. They've got to be just don't. Yeah. They've got to have good guys, plenty of good guys, but no great guys. So that's the thing, right? So the San Antonio Spurs were considered that, but then Tim Duncan turned into being one of the best players of all time, right? So you can no longer count them like that. So sometimes it becomes retrospective as well, right? You don't realize this player was this kind of legend. They grew into legend. Yeah. That's horrible when they do that because we look stupid. Mediocre team played so well and suddenly he's the best player ever. Ouch. But I think the last one where it wasn't like Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, Steph Curry, one of these like really huge stars was that 2005 Detroit Pistons team. They were the last one to win, and it was very much a no-name team. There you go. So, yeah. I would like to put sport in perspective. Djokovic won the 18th Grand Slam of his life and his 9th Australian Open, 9 out of 9 finals. India as a country has not won one Grand Slam. Singles. Okay. So Djokovic 18, Nadal 20, Federer 20, India. Tennis is not our game. How dare you? How many cricket World Cups has Czechoslovakia won? What the hell sense does that make? It is a terrible comparison. They play no cricket. We have a lot of tennis here. A lot of tennis. It's probably the 3rd or 4th game in terms of popularity. Not fair. Yeah, it's a bit of a rich man's sport, but then it is difficult to be a poor man's sport because it's expensive stuff and you have to be a member of a thing to play. Club, yeah. Otherwise, Silvery would have won every championship by now. Very talented boy. All right, is that it? Oh, sorry. So I think New Zealand can actually win at the moment. That's my point. Yeah. Cool. All right. I agree with Cyrus. Especially if Steph Curry plays for them, right? Yeah. Then I would watch. The ball's a little smaller. I don't know how much bounce he's going to get. All right. Just before we end, there is a great comment from Abhijit Dusani. He says, if I don't get a raise this year, you all are to blame. I spent an hour of my office time every day listening to this podcast. Thanks so much, Abhijit. Yeah, I think somebody asked us if we could start at 9. I'm just like, I think 9's a little difficult to get to. I'd love 9. No, Abhijit is saying we start at 8. Guess.
The problem is guests, right? The problem is guests. The problem is not us, right? Even though I would struggle at 9, I could make 9. 9 could happen because I'm up by 7:30, so I could make 9 happen without
3 days, your habits will change. It's all bull.
Yeah.
Human beings are so adaptive. How do you think night watchmen manage? You think they were born to just work from 12 to 6? No. 3 days and your body changes.
Agreed. I'm sure that I would be able to manage 9. The problem is guests, so we would not be able to get a good guest.
So guests, buck up. Guests, please buck up. This 10 o'clock largesse has to stop. Come in at 7:30, like guests all over the world.
Cyrus, we used to record at 11. Remember, we would do 10 to 11 hours,
we've
and then
done
guests would
10s
come at
also
11.
quite often, depending on
But
time.
guests would come at 11. We would record the cock and bull first.
Yeah, correct. So you're saying guests have done us a favor, brought down 11 to 10. I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you.
But I think that might be also Zoom, right? Because we no longer need them to travel to car.
Yeah. So we have to incorporate the word guest, viewer, and listener in our new word to discuss who's watching or listening. So it has to come from guest, listener. Let me work on it. We'll see you tomorrow.
Right,
bye, guys.
Bye.
Okay, catch us on any of the podcasting apps, please. We beg you. We need you. Send us your questions on Twitter on Cyrus Says In. Or you can email us, even if you're not female, on whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
Whether you're an established sports person or a budding one, or simply a sports enthusiast, join us, Tanvi and Shlok.
We are two passionate pro badminton players talking policy, mindset and everything sport.
So tune in to The Millennial Athlete every Monday.
Only on the IVM Podcast Network.
Trust us, it's gonna be lit.
From uncensored and unfiltered chats with the who's who of the entertainment industry, I, Siddharth Kannan, bring you a very hardcore chat show called Candid Kannan. Tune in every Friday on the IVM Podcast app or wherever you get your podcasts.